Soccer or football, depending on where you live, is probably the most watched sport in the world. The sport is so popular there is not a waking moment when a soccer game is not being played somewhere. With all that opportunity, it was probably a question of time before we had soccer moments that shocked fans. Number 8. Battle of Santiago in 1962. The Battle of Santiago, one of the most controversial matches in the history of the event, took place in 1962 between Chile and Italy in Santiago, Chile. Amidst obvious tensions following Italian journalist description of Santiago as a dump at the time, the city was still recuperating from a 9.5 Richter scale earthquake. Both sides launched a barrage of verbal and physical attacks against one another. The first foul was committed after 12 seconds. The first red card was issued in the 12th minute of play. During the match, which Chile won 2-0, the police were called in 3 times because of punches, kicks, and several scuffles between the players. When highlights from the match were broadcasted on British television a couple of days later, rather than the same night because film from matches had to be flown back to the UK, BBC Sports commentator David Coleman introduced the match as the most stupid, appalling, disgusting, and disgraceful exhibition of football, possibly in the history of the game. At one point, stones were hurled at some of the Italian players during their training camp. Coleman stated that it was the first meeting between the two sides and that it will be hopefully the last final encounter. In 1966, however, the teams were drawn together for the World Cup and played each other at Sunderland's Roker Park Stadium, with Italy winning 2-0 with the game passing without any violent incidents. Number 7. When Eric Cantona kung fu kicked a fan during a match. Almost 2 decades after it occurred, the kung fu kick delivered by former Manchester United striker Eric Cantona at Crystal Palace supporter Matthew Simmons moments after being sent off at Selhurst Park remains one of the most extraordinary moments in sports history, even by the standards of football melodramas. I have one regret, I admit. It was my dream to kick him even harder. Eric Cantona expresses no regret for a kung fu strike to the head of a Crystal Palace supporter in 1995, as the Manchester United star praises Sir Alex Ferguson for standing by him like a father. It was revealed that Simmons had gone down several rows of the stand, with the explicit goal of bidding farewell to the Manchester United icon, and Cantona was enraged by the hatred directed at him. He told The Sun that his precise comments were, "Off you go, Cantona, it's an early bath for you." According to more reliable witnesses, the words were something along the lines of, "F off, you mother French pest." He most likely deserved to be kicked. Number 6. Wayne Rooney was sent off for stomping on Ricardo Carvalho during England's quarterfinal match against Portugal in 2006. This was the second time in as many games that Wayne Rooney was sent off. The fact that Portugal's Cristiano Ronaldo was a former colleague of Wayne Rooney's at Manchester United did not prevent him from flashing an imaginary red card in the direction of the referee. Then once Rooney had off the pitch, Ronaldo gave a wink to the Portuguese sideline. Following a series of frank discussions in the tunnel after the game, the Old Trafford legend claims that his moment of humiliation actually brought him and the Portuguese legend closer together as a result of their shared experience. The same could not be said for England fans, who were enraged by Ronaldo's performance and vilified him for a long time following. Number 5. England vs. West Germany 1966 World Cup Final. During the 1996 World Cup Final between England and West Germany, another historic occurrence occurred in the World Cup history. When England striker Geoff Hurst spun and fired a shot into the crossbar, the ball bounced downwards and out of the goal. The Swiss referee, Gottfried Diest, was doubtful whether the ball had crossed the line, but Soviet linesman Tofik Barakamov ruled that it had, giving England a 3-2 lead against Switzerland. For years, people have been divided on this issue. Was it a goal or wasn't it a goal? When there was 1 minute left on the clock, the West Germans decided to send their defenders forward in an attempt to score a last-minute equalizer. After winning the ball, Bobby Moore delivered a long pass to open Geoff Hurst, who carried the ball forward as some spectators began to come onto the field, and Hurst scored moments later. Hurst later confessed that his blazing shot was aimed as much to blast the ball as far into the Wembley bleachers as possible in the event that it missed, in order to buy time for the remaining players on the field. One of the most well-known calls in English football history was made in the aftermath of the last goal, as described by BBC commentator Kenneth Wolstenholme, who characterized the scenario as follows. Hurst is now on the scene. A few people are on the field and they believe it's over for them. It's happening right now. It's 4 o'clock now. Number 4. Welcome to hell. In the UEFA Champions League, Manchester United was drawn against FC Galatasaray of Turkey in November 1993. The match took place in Istanbul. Manchester United had defeated Honved, and a victory over Galatasaray would put them in position to go to the quarterfinals. Their defeat at Old Trafford, on the other hand, consigned them to a must-win away trip to Istanbul. Upon arriving at Old Trafford, Manchester United was greeted by frightening banners bearing weird messages. The most noteworthy of these was the banner that read, "Welcome to hell." Their presence was evident at all times during the game, and things unavoidably grew hectic following the final whistle. Even worse, several Manchester United supporters were attacked and detained. Number 3. Zinedine Zidane headbutt 2002. Zinedine Zidane is a former captain of the French national soccer team and a former professional footballer. He was the one who, on his own, was responsible for France's World Cup victory in Brazil in the early part of the last decade. Zinedine Zidane was widely regarded as one of the greatest players in the history of the game. It was the final of the 2002 World Cup, which pitted France against Italy. After 90 minutes of play, the score was 1-1, resulting in the game being extended into extra time. During this time, the Italian player Materazzi yelled some nasty comments at Zidane, prompting him to retaliate with a headbutt to the center of his torso. After then, the referee showed him the red card, and his career came to an end in the most humiliating way. Because neither team was able to score in extra time, the game was decided by a penalty shootout. France would go on to lose the game in the end. This was the question that occupied the minds of soccer fans long after the Italian defender had collapsed in a heap. The French captain had been dismissed, and the Azzurri had strolled to a 3-0 triumph. It was only a few months later that Materazzi revealed that he had enraged Zidane by insulting his sister, shedding some light onto the situation. Number 2. The hot spectator who could kick a football. Streakers are available in a variety of shapes and sizes. Some are more attractive than others, and this one would be considered to be one of the most gorgeous ones we've encountered so far in our investigation. Not only is this particular one gorgeous due to her physical attractiveness, but she is also fascinating due to the fact that the female is able to kick a soccer ball. She scores a rocket of a goal past a diving goalkeeper who appears was not aware that she was not a member of any particular team at the time. The only thing more alluring than a gorgeous blonde bearing it all is a hot blonde who can play sports. And this lady clearly demonstrates that she may have spent some time at the YMCA in her younger years, as evidenced by her participation in sports. Extra points are awarded to the goalkeeper for maintaining a professional demeanor and not taking scoring opportunities for granted, although we are unable to put the video on this page due to the fact that it contains nudity. You should have no trouble locating it using a simple YouTube search. Number 1. Maradona's Hand of God in 1986. Argentina versus England was a World Cup quarterfinal match that took place in 1986 because of the Falkland War between Argentina and the United Kingdom. The game had not been played for 4 years prior. For the same reason, the rivalry between the two countries was quite intense. Maradona was one of the most well-known players in history, and he was well known for his arrogant demeanor. In this encounter, he scored 2 of the most memorable goals in football history. During the 51st minute of the game, he scored his first goal. The ball was in the air, and the English goalkeeper dashed out of his goal to kick the ball away from the goal mouth. Maradona, on the other hand, was the first to reach it and strike the ball with his left fist. The goal was permitted by the Tunisian referee since he did not see the violation. Later, it was frequently demonstrated on television and in newspapers that it was unmistakably a handball, and that Maradona should have been fined as a result. However, when Maradona later admitted to reporters that he had been helped by the Hand of God, the game changed from being larcenous to being legendary. Thank you for watching.